Freshwater Fishery Society of BC, Go Fish BC on Shaw TV with your host Brian Chan from the Freshwater Fishery Society of BC. Go Fish BC is brought to you in part by Freshwater Fishery Society of BC, River City Marine, and Surplus Herding.
Welcome to this week's episode of Go Fish BC on Shaw TV. It's a hot August day, late August. It's going to reach highs of 35 degrees centigrade. I'm on the shores of Layton Lake, and this morning I'm talking with Dave Hanratty, a park facilitator officer with Tonka Provincial Park. Dave's an expert angler. He knows this lake well. So Dave, how are we going to tackle Layton Lake today in this hot summer conditions?
Layton Lake in the summer is actually, in this time of year, is a real good fishing lake. What happens this time of year, since we're at a high elevation, the chironomid hatches start, the big chironomids start, and you'll see, especially towards evening now, big hatches of chironomids. And I would suggest that we start out from about 10 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon using fairly size 12 and bigger chironomids, and you should have some success with that.
So Layton Lake, for those viewers that aren't familiar, Layton and Tonka are known for their summer, what we call bomber hatches that occur mid to late August, and that's why these anglers are here. There's people that are camping here, I'm sure.
That's correct. The last few days here, the fishing has picked up. It's a good indication that the bomber season is approaching. There's been fish with big bloodworms, which is a precursor to the bomber hatches.
You bet.
And it seems like right now we're getting a little bit more activity towards evening, just before dark. When it's clear like this, they feed all night.
Yeah.
And we get a real good hatch right before dark, and the guys last night, I know we're fairly successful, and the night before was real good. But it's starting to pick up, and the bomber hatch is slowly starting to approach on now. This year, Layton and Tonka are producing reasonably big fish. Layton, especially this year, has come on real well. There was a derby a couple of weeks ago, and the winning fish was about 4.5 pounds. There's been a lot of 4, 5, 6 pound fish caught this year, which is very pleasant. It's starting to really fish well, and I think it should be one of your stops.
Thanks a lot for your help.
Thank you.
You bet. So there's a reason why we have this term called summer doldrums, fishing the interior lakes, the small trout lakes. And that's simply because it gets pretty hot up here, and we've endured almost 5 weeks of pretty intense heat up in the Kamloops area this year. So when you get hot weather, you get warm water temperature. You get warm water temperature, you get more lethargic fish. They're not that aggressively feeding during the daytime. And you'll also see lakes go into a severe algae bloom. So we're on Layton Lake right now, and you can look in the water and you can see there's some algae in the water. And you'll also see clumps of bottom vegetation or detritus off the bottom of the lake that float up to the surface of the lake. So there's just some methane and hydrogen sulfide gas being released, and it kind of peels off a little layer of that matter, that organic matter that's on the bottom, and it floats to the surface of the lake. So when we're fishing the summer doldrums, even though fishing can be tough, there can be some really good fishing, and it's quite often associated with mid to late summer chironomid or midge hatches. So we're fishing with chironomid larvae or pupae, and usually suspending them fairly close to the bottom. You'll also get some good early morning. By that I mean 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, early morning fishing. And then it also can be very good late in the evening, because after the sun goes off the water, quite often you will get insect hatches in the summer, like caddisflies or even chironomid hatches. So late evening fishing in the summertime, when the air temperatures are cool and the water temperatures cool down, will also produce fish. So there is some good fishing in during the summertime. It's a little bit more challenging. You really want to make sure you have a fish finder or a depth sounder so that you can mark where the fish are. They're going to be deeper during the daytime to avoid the warm temperature, and also in layers of water just above the thermocline where there's still lots of oxygen. It's still worth getting out there fishing to enjoy this beautiful summer weather. We'll see you next week in another episode of Go Fish BC on Shaw TV.
Freshwater Fishery Society of BC, Go Fish BC on Shaw TV with your host Brian Chan from the Freshwater Fishery Society of BC. Go Fish BC is brought to you in part by Freshwater Fishery Society of BC, River City Marine, and Surplus Herding.